Hello and welcome back to the Holidaying with Hobbits channel. Today we're going to talk about the best rides or how to get the most out of Fantasyland if you are going to Disneyland Paris in early magic hour and you have young children. So as I tell guests in the Disneyland parks, you are going to get early access to the Magic Kingdom. That means you get in at 8:30. The kicker is there will be a queue to get into the 8:30, and the queue will be on the left hand side as you approach the main entrance. Behind these trees there's a path round to the right, and this queue could be as much as 20 minutes. I talked about it a little bit in my last video. So in this video I'm going to be discussing how you get the most out of early magic hour. So the rides inside early magic hour is not every single ride. There are only certain rides open, and in the Disneyland Paris main park that would be Big Thunder Mountain, that will be Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Underneath the castle will be open, but that's kind of irrelevant. Like, you can almost walk into the castle with no queue at any time. The Main Street vehicles, if you actually do want to do these, you want to do these in early magic hour. Peter Pan's ride will be open, and one other ride, which is Hyperspace Mountain. Now, I've put a link to a website that shows you all the rides and when they're open on any given day. I'll put that in the video description, so if you want to check the night before you are going to see what is open, you can do that following this link. It's pretty easy. So let's talk about Fantasyland though, because I was going there with a 3-year-old and 5-year-old, and typically we want to get into Fantasyland as soon as possible. So you enter the park on the left hand side and you make your way straight up Main Street, and you probably walk through the castle and you reach the carousel, which is number 9 on this map. That's probably going to take you like 10 minutes. So when you reach the carousel, you then have two options. You're heading left round here to get to Peter Pan, or you're heading straight ahead and heading into Dumbo, almost where the 8 is precisely where the queue entrance is for Dumbo. Right, these are the only 2 rides open in the early magic hour in Fantasyland, and both of which are going to fill up with a queue very, very quickly. What we found is we were reaching this point, sort of north of the carousel at 8:45, and the queue times were already pretty high, right? Peter Pan, one of the mornings at 8:45, had already built up to almost 50 minutes. And Dumbo, on one morning we were there, it was maybe like 35 minutes. On the other morning, it was as high as 40 minutes. So if the queue times for Peter Pan can be as high as 40-45 minutes, and Dumbo can reach 30-35 minutes by 8:45, like, you need, if you want to make the most out of it early magic hour, you need to be round there queuing to get into the Magic Kingdom or through the gates for the early magic hour, probably like 8:20. Because if you reach the gates at 8:30, 8:35, and you're not getting into the park for 10 minutes, then you really are getting to Fantasyland with serious queues. Like, I couldn't believe how big these queues are already, considering the park isn't even open to the general public to 9:30. But the main trick here is you want to get on and do one of these rides and be finished and be off that ride for 9:30, right? Because if you can be finished and off that ride for 9:30, then everything will start opening at Fantasyland at 9:30, and you can head straight to the rides. There'll possibly be like a small queue building up, like 5 minutes maximum. So people will be queuing for that ride opening at 9:30. So it's not really a queue within the ride system itself, it's just a queue or people gathering, waiting for the ride to open at 9:30 so they can walk on it. So the trick that we found is you want to hot foot it up to Fantasyland. Ideally, you want to be in Fantasyland a bit earlier than 8:45, or you're going to be pushing it to walk on something else for 9:30. And the rides that kind of were building up small queues were, I'm not going to try and say this, but this is the Seven Dwarves ride. It was kind of short, and it was honestly a bit scary for even our 5-year-old. Our daughter is 5, our son is 3, and this was quite scary, and it builds up during the day to almost 45 minutes. The Pinocchio ride, our kids actually both loved. It was longer, it wasn't nearly as scary, and it reached queues of 40 minutes. And then Pirates of the Caribbean, if we go back to the map of Fantasyland, you literally just exit here where Peter Pan is, and Pirates of the Caribbean, I think, is literally right here on the edge. It could build up, it had been closed, so while we were there, it was building up as high as 60 minutes. So again, you could be ready to get in that queue at 9:30 for opening, or 9:15, like small queues are opening, and you can walk straight on that ride. So essentially at 9:30 or at 9:35, you will have done one ride in early magic hour, you'll have done another ride, and you're ready to push onto ride 3 at like 9:45. If Fantasyland is not your jam and you're not really interested in Fantasyland, then the 2 big rides you want to do in Magic Kingdom and Early Magic Hour are Big Thunder Mountain or Space Mountain. My experience says Big Thunder Mountain is a more encompassing ride, more younger children, more people will ride Big Thunder Mountain. So even though Hyperspace Mountain is the bigger thrill ride, it doesn't seem to get as big queues as Big Thunder Mountain. Quite often Big Thunder Mountain, we saw it well over an hour queue. 75 minutes, I think we saw it in the summer. It was July, whereas Hyperspace Mountain was much more like 45, 50 minutes. But one of the things I would do is I would strongly advise you make a plan the night before, right? Like, I didn't realize how much you needed the plan. Whereas, like, if you just walk in, like, oh, well, we're going to donder over here, we're going to do this, you know, and you're going to take your time and you're going to let your kids look in shops, you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. If you only got a couple of days, it's all fine and well to look at shops, but look at shops after Early Magic Hour, because they do open a bunch of shops in Early Magic Hour, and they are quiet, so there is the temptation, but honestly, use that time to get through the queues, and then when it's hotter and stuffier and muggier during the day, then you can use that time to go and look in shops. But making a small plan each day actually helped us wonders, so that's what this video is about. If you have any questions about staying at Disneyland Paris or the Art of Marvel, leave me a comment below and I'll try my best to answer it, or I'll cover it in the future video. Thank you so much for watching. This has been my second video on this channel, holidaying with hobbits, excuse me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something useful. Good luck on your Disneyland Paris adventure. I'll see you next time. Peace.